Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the CruitCast. I'm Jason Suchomel, joined by Cole Patterson there, not really sitting beside me, but kind of sitting beside me. And Cole, we took a 1-week hiatus. I took vacation, a much appreciated, much enjoyed vacation. Do I look tanner, by the way? I went to a beach with the kids, so
You got
maybe
some sun.
the gray in my beard doesn't make me look much tanner. But sat on the beach for about a week straight with my kids and tried not to drown my daughters a couple times whenever they were getting on my nerves, but all in all, it was good to get away, but also good to come back home and after a week away and get back in the swing of things. So everybody, let's do some housekeeping here. Let's like this video. Do us a huge favor if you like this video, even a bigger favor if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. So click those buttons down below us there. And as always, check out our sponsor at Prime Shrimp. You see the graphic above us there, primeshrimp.com, $20 off your first order, promo code orangebloods. I need to reload. I'm kind of guilty myself, Cole. I've eaten all my prime shrimp. They sent us a bunch whenever we first started. I need to reload my supply of prime shrimp, so I need to get on board with that. And listen, guaranteed money back guarantee. It's easy prep. It's easy cleanup. It's delicious. That's the most important thing. It's easy and delicious. Go to primeshrimp.com, support our sponsors who support us and help bring us these CruitCast videos. So, Cole, I kind of just wanted to be like, hey, Cole, I've been kind of out of the loop for a week, so you just take the wheel and let this thing go. Normally when I take vacation, dude, I'm still on Orange Bloods a ton just because I'm a psychopath like that. But this time I really stayed off Orange Bloods quite a bit because we'd get up in the morning, man. We were ripping and roaring and going, and then pretty much till the time we went to bed. So, I popped on a couple times, but I kind of was out of the loop on a lot of things, but I still want to catch up on a few things. The big story we want to talk about today, as we record this on Tuesday morning, South Oak Cliff cornerback Malik Muhammad, who participated in the Future 50 down in Florida. He's going to announce his decision tomorrow on Wednesday. It's Texas, it's Texas A&M, it's Alabama. Cole, we've been watching this one closely for a while. What are your thoughts on that commitment coming up? What are your expectations on that commitment coming up tomorrow?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't think we heard from you from the Slack for like the entire time you were gone. So
hey,
you were
let me jump in. Truth be told, my damn phone, I'm on the beach and I'm just bing, 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 bing. Finally, I'm like, you know what? I'm closing Slack. So I didn't even pay attention to that channel for the most part. So it was kind of refreshing. But yeah, get back on track. Sorry, but Malik Muhammad, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good to have you back though. I think Malik Muhammad, for my money, is the number one corner in the state. I just huge fan of him on film and everything like that. I think he's a total package. Believe we both have our feature cast in for Malik Muhammad to pick Texas. I put a note on the board when he announced his commitment date that I think it's pretty big that he's making his decision before that A&M weekend visit. I think we are all confident that Texas, eventually land his commitment, but there's always uneasiness when the A&M trip's at the end of the month and he's still undecided. So big for him to make that decision now. And I think, just reading the tea leaves and, listen to what other commits have to say. It's kind of, I think our confidence is pretty high that Texas will be the pick tomorrow when Malik Muhammad does make that decision.
Malik's interesting, though, because he doesn't say much. And even when you talk to him, he's just very guarded with his answers. And he's a super nice kid. I mean, I like him a lot, but he's just not one that's going to tip his hand very much. And it's funny. Mm-hmm. I actually talked to Billy Walton on Sunday. Billy Walton is teammate at South Oak Cliff. Billy Walton is cousin. Billy Walton, who's committed to Texas. And Billy was saying how he's recruiting Malik. And I was kind of joking with Billy. I said, Billy, you're an open book, dude. When I call you before you committed, he was still committed to Oklahoma State. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to flip to Texas in a few days. And I said, you don't hold anything back. And I told him, I said, Malik doesn't really give me much when I talk to Malik. And he said, it's the same with him. He's his own cousin, for Pete's sake, his own teammate. But I asked him, I asked Billy what was his prediction. And he thinks it's going to be Texas. But he goes, man, I'm telling you, Malik hasn't told me. He didn't think A&M was much of a factor. He thought it was going to be Texas or Alabama on Wednesday. So, Malik's done a really good job. I think we all feel pretty good that it's going to be Texas. but I don't think any of us are willing to like stick our neck out too far, right? I mean, I'd be mildly surprised if he picked Alabama at this point after the momentum Texas picked up, and he's visited Texas a couple times this spring and summer. You got other recruits, as you said, Cole, who are insisting that he is coming to Texas. But I'm going to be really interesting if Malik picks Texas to talk to him maybe tomorrow night or maybe Thursday and just kind of get the backstory and be like, hey, dude, when did you really know? And just talk to him about like how he kept everything so guarded from everybody and just kept everybody guessing. I want to know when he knew and how close of a race it really was, because I don't really have the answers to it right now.
Well, things kind of turned, Texas, even going in his spring practices, seemed to be, maybe that third team, maybe he really top 6, maybe they're further down on that list.
Yeah.
Like an A&M Alabama battle. And then he took that unofficial visit, I believe it was in May, to Texas. And that's kind of when, the wheels got rolling, so to speak, there. I talked to him after his spring game, and he was really impressed with Texas. And then he, probably doesn't hurt that he's become friends with Jonte Cook, and obviously for a while, and then Arch Manning and some other guys that, he visited same weekend as Arch Manning for an official visit. Billy Walton, it's his cousin who Texas has been recruiting for, even when he committed to Oklahoma State. They had been recruiting for months and things like that. It seemed like they were pushing the right buttons, and Terry Joseph did a great job there. But he really does like Alabama. I believe he told Nick Harris that Nick Saban's kind of still making a push there. And he's told me and previously that he really likes T-Rob, their DB coach at Alabama. So it's always hard to turn down Alabama if you have that offer. Nick Saban, is making you a priority. But yeah, I'm curious to see when Texas kind of separated themselves. If it was on that unofficial visit, or if the official visit kind of solidified things, or it'll be interesting to see how that recruitment played out, because Alabama and A&M seem to be in the best position until really just like a month or two ago. So if Texas that commitment, is a huge win for them.
There really wasn't much Texas talk at all until he visited. You're right. It was early May when he took that unofficial visit, and then, of course, took his official visit in June. On my trip home from vacation, Cole, I had an overnight layover in Miami. This is a random segue, I know, right? So I had to get a hotel in Miami.
Worst places to be in.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get to get out and see much because we just got a hotel right by the airport. But you know what? There was a nice sports bar right by the hotel. So I just checked in the hotel, told the kids, like, the kids had their own room. My wife and I are like, all right, we're going to the sports bar to have a couple cocktails. We got to get away from y'all for a few hours. But I wish I had planned it a little better, because last weekend that Future 50 was in Bradenton, Florida, which I don't know exactly where that is. I think it's
Orlando
2 or 3
area.
hours. Yeah, so it's not real close to Miami, but I was like, man, I should have like stayed in Miami, gone to Bradenton, Florida for that Future 50 camp, told the wife and kids, hey, y'all fly on home and I'll meet you home in a couple of days, because I would have been able to see Malik Muhammad down there. And I thought it was interesting about Malik down there that there were pictures of him, and he had I think I'm gonna get this right. He had a Texas backpack on, but he had an A&M hat on, and who knows, probably had Alabama something on somewhere.
Gloves or something.
Yeah, he like I said, he does a good job of keeping everybody guessing. But a guy down there that was also at the Future 50, Cole, that a lot of people were talking about, and still talking about, Jalen Hale, the wide receiver from Longview. He scores touchdowns, and he's flashing the hook 'em hand sign, and he's hanging out with Jonte Cook, and Jonte's telling everybody down there, hey, Jalen Hill's coming to Texas. So suddenly you start seeing all these future casts and crystal balls or forecasts, whatever they are, come in for Jalen Hill to Texas. I feel like we were a little bit ahead of the curve on this one, because you and I talked to him at the state 7-on-7. What was that? Late June, right, Cole? And I actually put in my recruiting board, and this, he told us, he said it's USC and Georgia 1 and 2, or 1 and 1A rather, and Texas was maybe 3rd or 4th, he told us. And I did a recruiting board
and stuff like that.
He did what? I'm sorry.
So he still wanted to take like 3 official visits, and
he wanted to take some fall visits, and didn't know exactly when or where. You knew Texas would get one in Alabama, but now he comes out with the top 3: Texas, Alabama, and Georgia. And So no USC, which is a bit surprising. But after we talked to him, I just got a vibe, man, and talking to him was like, I think Texas is in a better spot than people
Yeah.
realize. And I
Mhm.
kind of heard some grapevine talk 2 weeks ago that, hey, man, he is close to committing to Texas. That's going to happen pretty soon. So in our recruiting board, I had him at 50%, which is a lot higher than I think most people would have thought, considering he had just listed Georgia and USC number one.
Mhm.
And in our war room, not last week because I was gone, but the week before, I said, hey, man, this one's trending up. And I said, there's a chance he might commit to Texas, I think, sooner rather than later, or make a decision sooner rather than later. Lo and
Mhm.
behold, he comes out this week and says, or last week rather, and says his mind is made up. He's going to announce his decision on September 22nd. He is still taking an official visit to Alabama. I
Yeah.
think their season opener. I wouldn't be surprised if Texas got him on campus week 2 for their official visit for the Alabama game. But
Mhm.
I know I'm throwing a lot at you about Jalen Hale, but just a lot of information's come in. But I think we
Yeah.
both feel really good. I know you've got a future cast in for Jalen. I'm writing about him in my 3-2-1 column, which will be on Orange Bloods later today. I'm going to put my future cast in for Texas for Jalen Hale. But, we kind of thought this one might be flipping a little bit towards Texas because, like Malik Muhammad, there was a point when Texas was not a factor at all. And
Yeah.
then, boom, man, this Arch Manning thing happens and Texas really makes a move. So, your thoughts on what's going on with Jalen Hale, Cole? I know I've spit out a lot at you, buddy, but your thoughts on Jalen Hale, where things are trending, and what that would mean for Texas if they can get him.
Well, yeah, kind of like you said, a lot's happened since he, went on vacation and came back, and
Yeah.
he released the top three and commitment date and all of that. But yeah, this is the thing. If Texas does get him, which and I feel pretty confident about, and I think your confidence rising too. It's just credit to Arch Manning there. He if Arch Manning does commit to Texas, I think Jalen Hale probably goes to Georgia, probably with Arch Manning. I think
Mm-hmm.
they're pretty tight. He told us that. He's really attracted to the idea of catching passes from Arch Manning, playing Steve Sarkisian's offense. Jonte Cook's kind of made him a priority, recruiting him as well. They've developed a friendship over the years. So there's a lot of things going Texas's way. Brennan Marion's done a great job, just chipping away in that recruitment. But yeah, I mean, he had a terrific weekend at Future 50, and I think he had like a 3 touchdown day in the 7-on-7. He looked good at the state 7-on-7 as well. Yeah, really good player, a guy that, like you said, Texas is kind of behind with, and then the Arch Manning commitment just pushed him to the top pretty quickly. At least it seems that way. Because even when he had Georgia and USC as his top two, or what he told us. He still kept talking about Texas, how they were definitely number 3, or they were definitely in that mix and going to get an official visit. And, I just think that's that friendship with Arch Manning, the Brennan Marion relationship, and then Jonte Cook and those guys recruiting him. I think it's kind of a lot for him to, turn down just the opportunity to play in state. But, I mean, like you said, he's still taking that official visit to Alabama, so I wouldn't say it's completely done. I mean, there's probably still room for Alabama to make a move, but Texas is in a great spot, and he did say his mind is made up, so that can't hurt Texas either.
Yeah, but he said his mind is made up. That's a good thing if it's Texas like we think it is. But he's
Yeah,
still visiting Alabama, Cole, like you said. And he also told us 3 weeks ago that it was Georgia and USC as his top two. And
yeah,
USC doesn't even end up making his top 3 a few weeks later. So his
yeah, yeah.
mind may be made up, but Jalen's a guy who things kind of change pretty quickly. But
Mhm.
if I'm guessing, Cole, and this is just a hunch, wink, wink, none, I think he's told Texas he's coming. So,
Yeah.
so I think that you're still gonna have to withstand Alabama's surge there if Alabama pushes
Mhm.
and if he does in fact make that visit. And we'll see. I'm not
Yeah.
100% convinced he even makes that
Mhm.
Alabama visit, but that's something we'll continue to track into September. But I do like Texas's position. And you said he did really well at the Future 50 last weekend, Under Armour Future 50. So he's number 75 nationally. I would think his stock is going to rise. His rankings are going to rise. Ranking is going to rise. But it's interesting, Cole. I'm looking at his rankings. 75th in the country, still really good, right? Rivals 100. That's the lowest he's been ranked. There was a time Rivals had him ranked like in their initial rankings for this class. This would have been his sophomore year. They had him ranked number 8 nationally. Then he dropped to 28th, and then 42nd, and then he was 46th, and then this most recent rankings drops down to 75. I don't think he ever gets back to number 8 nationally, but I think certainly you could see him get back into that 40-ish level and maybe even beyond, and maybe challenge for 5-star status. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I think he can definitely get into that, back into that 6-0 range. He doesn't play 7-on-7 outside of, outside of Longview. He played in the state 7-on-7, but he doesn't do the spring with the, with Texas Flex or any of the other organizations.
Is that a rule? Like that's a Longview rule, I guess, right?
Yeah. Longview. Yeah, it's kind of their own thing. He doesn't play there. So the fact that he looked good at state 7-on-7, and then he kind of dominated some of the best DBs in the nation, and at that Future 50 event with, some quarterbacks he doesn't really see every day in practice is pretty eye-opening there. But just to wrap that up, Jonte seems pretty confident on social media about Jalen Hale, not hiding anything. Jonte is a confident dude and very charismatic guy, but everything from his Instagram story to them throwing up the hook 'em together, you can tell Jonte is pretty excited about the potential of possibly playing with Jalen Hale.
Yeah, and 2 different style of receivers, so they could complement each other. Jalen told Rivals.com, Nick Harris this weekend, he and Arch text literally every single day. So just a lot about that one looks really good for Texas. Cole, I want to transition. I'm going to give you the platform here. You're leaving this weekend, or no, this week, right? 2 days from now, right?
Yeah.
Cole is going to be traveling to Mississippi. That's one of his territories as Cole, of course, works for Orange Bloods, but he also does some stuff for the Rivals national side. So follow him on that stuff too. Mississippi, Cole, is one of your areas. So you're going to be heading to Mississippi to kind of make some rounds there. I'm going to let you just talk because honestly, you and I haven't even talked about what your plans are there. So you tell me and tell everybody watching who you're going to be seeing in Mississippi and how that might relate to Texas.
Yeah, for sure. I'm planning to leave Thursday, get back Sunday. And since Bo Davis and Texas, obviously on Steve Sarkisian's staff, they've been recruiting Texas pretty hard. Kyle Flood has offered some offensive linemen there as well. Obviously, they signed Aaron Bryant in the last class, a defensive tackle out of Mississippi. That's kind of one of the stops I'm planning to hit is South Haven High School. I'm still trying to get that set up, but I'd like to, if I can get that set up, I'd like to have, some more background in Aaron Bryant as far as his decision and just what he brings to the table and brings to Texas. They're kind of crosstown rivals, so to speak, kind of in the same district. There's Kamarion Franklin, who we have as I think he's the first player outside of the top 50 in the 2024 Rivals 250 rankings. Texas is offered. He really close with Bo Davis. That's a guy I think Texas could probably get in the game with a little bit more as, the 2024 contact picks up. But then they've offered a 24. They've offered a couple guys in that 24 class. There's a receiver that I'm planning to see, receiver/running back named Daniel Hill out of Meridian, Mississippi, who I believe is all over his Instagram. He has all over his Texas uniforms and photo shoots. He's been on Texas campus. I think that was back in June. I think he may have been there before then. So we're going to have some Texas content on the site, probably some background on Aaron Bryant. That'll be pretty cool to read. There's a quarterback, the 2025 quarterback, actually. I'm planning to go see a camp down there in Mississippi on Saturday. 2025 quarterback that was recently on the Texas campus who said he's had some positive conversations with A.J. Milwee and thinks he'll be back out to Texas. So I think we can, kind of show Texas fans that, Texas is making that area a priority, which only makes sense as they move into the SEC. So definitely get some recruiting updates there, some more intel on Aaron Bryant, and, things like that. Let Texas fans get more familiar with the Mississippi talent.
Yeah, I look forward to reading that, and I'll look forward to hearing what the people in Mississippi have to say about Aaron Bryant. I really like Aaron Bryant just as a kid, just covering him. He was a no BS guy when I'd call him as a recruit, and he'd always take my call, which was great. And it was like a month before he committed, or 2 months maybe even, I don't remember. And I called him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm committing to Texas." And like nobody knew it at the time. Like between you and me and the world.
He was joined probably less than a month, and he committed, and he gave me like a whole breakdown on his
Yeah,
top
exactly. It
six
was
at the
great, dude.
time.
So like
Yeah,
when,
good kid.
when he told me he was committing to Texas, people at Texas didn't even know he was committing to Texas. So it's like I just happened to ask him, like, "Do you know where you're going?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and commit to Texas." I think he had one visit, and I'm trying to remember. I think it was to Ole Miss actually.
Yeah, it
And
was the Ole
I think he
Miss.
said, "I'm going to take that Ole Miss visit," but he goes, "I don't see them winning me over." He goes, "It's going to be Texas," and
Yeah,
sure enough, it ended up being Texas. So
he was a
yeah,
guy that I believe Georgia and LSU both hosted for official visits too. So
yeah.
I think A&M had him on campus. So he had a pretty good offer sheet.
Yeah, really, really fun guy to cover. So maybe I'll be interested to hear some backstory there.
Yeah.
Another fun guy to cover. I'm kind of finding some segues here, but and I'll have this in my 3-2-1 too. But I did talk to Connor Stroh, the Texas offensive line commit. Cole, I talked to him on Sunday. This is the first time I've talked to Connor since he committed. It's been like 3 weeks since he committed, right? But
Yeah.
he committed. Dude, you and I were so busy reporting on like 10 other commitments after he committed in that 1 week span or whatever it was, 2 weeks. Then
Yeah.
Connor and his family went over to like Italy, and
Yeah.
I think he told me he went to Germany and some places. So he was gone and he came back and I was gone. So Connor and I hadn't had a chance to connect. So I called him on Sunday, and Connor is always one of my favorite dudes to talk to. And you
Good
talk
kid.
about the guy he's just great. Yeah, but he's just super transparent, doesn't play any games. And
Mhm.
he and I really kind of dove into it, and I talked about his decision. He knew, he committed on Friday of his official visit to Texas. He didn't
Mhm.
announce it until Sunday because he wanted to wait until the other coaches that were recruiting them. But he committed on his first day of his official visit, and he knew coming up, he knew he was going to commit, right? Well, I thought it was
Mhm.
interesting. Connor's parents, has well been documented, both graduated from Texas A&M. His aunt
Yeah.
graduated from Texas A&M. Everybody
Uh-huh.
thought he was going to go to A&M, even before A&M offered. People were like, oh, he's going to A&M. When A&M offered, everybody said, oh, he's going to A&M. And I was like, I don't know, man. I mean, when I talked to Connor, I don't get that vibe that he's locked in. So he and I were talking about this, and he goes, yeah, he goes, truth be told, he said he goes, I didn't even want to admit this to myself, but looking back at it, he goes, Texas was always the leader for him. He goes, there was just something different about Texas that other programs couldn't match. And I asked him, I said, well, how did you break that news, so to speak, to your
Yeah.
parents? And his parents, he had always said, hey, his parents would be supportive of wherever he went. But I was like, they're Texas A&M grads. How'd that conversation go? I was just wondering. And he goes, it was pretty interesting. He said, you know what? I didn't have to break the news to them. They literally told him, I think it might have been on the drive to Austin, or maybe that week before they came to Austin. They came up to Connor and just said, hey, dude, if you want to commit to Texas this weekend, we are 100% behind you. So he didn't have to have that awkward conversation like, hey, mom and dad, I'm not going to where you guys went.
Yeah.
I'm going. They came to him unsolicited and said, you have our full blessing, which I thought was really cool as parents.
Mhm.
And secondly, I thought was a very good indication of just how good of a job Kyle Flood, Steve Sarkisian, and the Texas staff did recruiting this whole family. And I remember seeing, I think his mom tweeted this a couple weeks ago or something, like that Connor's dad said, hey, I love my alma mater. I love Texas A&M, but I love my son more. And I'm like, dude, that's awesome. That's the way it should be. I mean,
Mhm.
so it was an interesting conversation, as it always is, with Connor Stroh, who's one of my favorites in this class. So,
He
so
taught his
one
parents
last
to
thing.
wear burnt orange. So that's pretty good
Yeah, dude.
win.
Yeah, like they have no problem putting on that burnt orange, and I mean they're very happy, as they should be, for Connor Stroh. And he was wearing like all their pictures on Twitter when they're in Italy. Connor's wearing his Texas gear, I think, in every picture I saw. So he is very much locked in, and he will actually be in town, Cole, not this coming weekend, but the next weekend. Texas is having a pretty big recruiting event where they'll have a lot of their committed guys, some committed guys, some guys from out of state are coming in for a barbecue / pool party thing. So you and I will be around to kind of hang out for that and cover that. We won't hang out at the pool party, of course, but we'll be covering the pool party as the recruits leave. So
Cole
we'll
might feel
dive more.
good with the heat. So.
No doubt, dude, man. Maybe they open up like a kiddie pool for us to just
Yeah.
dip our feet in or something. But we'll cover. We got a lot going on this week. Cole's hitting the road on Thursday, so we'll dive more into that next week and preview that pool party barbecue thing. But should be a pretty big recruiting event for Texas. I think it's Friday the 29th. And then A&M's having their big barbecue thing that same weekend. I think Oklahoma's having something that weekend. So it'll be a big recruiting weekend. Then the dead period sets in August again, so there's no more visits. So we'll have a lot to preview next week and a lot to talk about coming out of that recruiting event for Texas. But it's been fun to kind of get back in the saddle here, Cole. Appreciate you jumping back in with me after giving me a little bit of a 1 week break. And appreciate everybody for watching. Yeah, man, everybody, thanks for watching. Please like the video. Please subscribe to our channel. And please support our sponsor, primeshrimp.com. Get $20 off your first order. Money back guarantee. Promo code Orange Bloods. You'll love it, man. There's I think it's 5 flavors to choose from. Each one I had is better than the next, man. They're all fantastic. So go to primeshrimp.com, get your order in. Cole, safe travels to you, bud. Hey, I'm sure I'll talk to you before, obviously, but you be safe driving to Mississippi. Good luck being productive there. Yeah, man. So everybody, thank you for watching. This is the CruitCast. I'm Jason Suchomel. That's Cole Patterson. We will talk to you next week, maybe with a commitment to breakdown of Malik Muhammad. We'll see. So everybody take care. Have a good rest of your week.